Hello, friends. This is Grunhaar, and welcome to episode 9 of minicast. We are 9 episodes deep, and this one is going to be much deeper episode than others for sure. We are exploring one of the items found from my version of the iceberg chart. Do you know what iceberg chart is? For a quick reference, you can Google images of iceberg charts. Usually the chart is based on one theme. For example, your favorite TV show, popular person, music genre, and etc. The chart literally shows the side view of an iceberg floating in water. The items shown above the surface are things that are well known to many people. On the other hand, the items shown below the surface are things that are known to few people. The deeper it is located, the lesser they know. The deeper it is located, the smaller the details get. And I don't know how long this episode is going to be. I think it's going to be a long one, and I will try to have the storyline organized. Okay, so I have teased you for so long, and I finally decided to tell you why I started to do DJing. Some of you will react like, what do you mean? Is that big of a deal to you? But that's because you don't know my story. I usually decide not to tell them because when they ask why I started DJing, they are mostly drunk. The conversation takes place in loud places, and I always have this feeling that they will forget it anyways. In concrete terms, less than 24 hours. I just get lazy and do not have a desire to waste my energy. I simply tell them that, that's because I just want to support my favorite artists. That's all, haha, and that's it. End of the conversation. I've been keeping it very simple, but there's actually a story behind it, my origin as a DJ and a VJ. There's more to it. I'm going to talk about it in a chronological order. It may sound really dark in the first half or the first 2/3, but there's an upside to it, I promise. I simply started as an illustrator, as my passion project, not my full-time job. I think it was back in 2017 or 2018-ish. I just wanted to draw what I like outside of my job, mostly on weekends, and I never had an idea of becoming a DJ. I love digging music mostly through YouTube and Spotify. I follow my favorite artists on socials on a daily basis, and sometimes when my favorite artists visited Japan for a show, I just went and see them with my own eyes. That is one of my true bliss moments. I don't belong in a big friend group or something, so I just simply book a ticket to the show, go to the venue, solo by myself, usually a nightclub slash big venue in Shibuya, and wandered like a floating ghost while I enjoy the music in the dark. I really didn't care that I was alone. I still don't care, even though there's like a distorted common sense that nightclub is the place to get flirty and drunk. It is too sexualized, and I think it should be a safer place for everyone, regardless of sexual orientation and preference on drinking alcohol. Anyways, my main focus is to actually see the artists and their performances, enjoy the experience, and go back home. That's it. I also go to music festivals by myself. I've been to Ultra Music and EDC, both in Japan, of course. The reasons are the same. I just want to see my favorite artists and enjoy the whole experience there. It was pretty cool, and about a month later from EDC in 2019, I learned that one of my best favorite artists, named I.O., spelled in lowercase I_O, is visiting Tokyo for his first show in Japan, and I immediately bought the ticket. I think he's mainly known for techno music and sometimes house music. He was like the next generation deadmau5 in electronic music scene, and he was also like the leading person to make techno music great again in the US, since techno was much more popular in Europe at that time. He was one of the main producers in American techno renaissance. I had already been listening to his music very often. I watched his DJ set videos on YouTube, posted by a random person multiple times. I even memorized the certain transitions between certain songs too, and his music helped me go through and survive one of the toughest times at the work I had at that time, and I was super lucky that I noticed that he was visiting here. 2019, June 29th, I went to see him and his DJ set at the venue called Circus Tokyo, located in Shibuya. This day, I tell you, had changed my life drastically. I will circle back on this a little bit later. So, after the show, I was very lucky to have a chance to talk to him for a brief moment, to ask for a photo, and he kindly responded, yes. I still remember like it was yesterday that since he was very tall and I'm a short person, he bent both of his knees so he can position his face closer, literally next to mine, to fit in a camera frame. He was known as a chill, sarcastic, intelligent techno person, so it was kind of surprising in a good way. And I remember going back home that day, I questioned myself, was it real? Did it really happen? And double-checked my phone to see the evidence. I felt like a dreamy teenage girl because when I look back at that picture, it kind of warmed my heart. I still have that picture, of course. I printed out and framed it. It is still in my room, so I can kind of cherish that moment. The next year, 2020, as you know, everything had changed, right? Lockdowns, confusion throughout the whole planet, etc. On a sunny morning in late November 2020, I woke up getting ready for work while eating breakfast. As I scrolled on Twitter feed on my computer, as usual, I saw a big black square image on the screen, which happened to be posted by my best favorite artist. I had a really bad feeling, like in millisecond. I carefully read what it was written on that black image. It was announced that Io had passed away. No one knew the cause of death at that time. It was only a few days after releasing his new song from a big label. It was only a few days after he posted his sarcastic tweet, as usual. It was too sudden. He was only 30 years old, still had so much to offer to this world, so much success was waiting ahead of him. At first, I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to accept the fact. I was rejecting it. I thought I was having a bad dream. But slowly, I realized as other big artists posted their messages to him, I started to feel a surge of enormous sadness inside me. I know that I am no one to him. He didn't even know me personally, but his existence, including his music, had helped me through hard times. I have a deep emotional connection to him. I was devastated. My heart was broken, super depressed and hopeless. I had zero passion in having fun in any way. My life after that day was gray and colorless. However, I was still lucky because the job I had back then was full remote, so nobody had to see my ugly face crying. My coworkers never knew that I was this depressed. There were mountains of used tissue papers on my desk, shedding salty waters from my eyes constantly like a broken machine. I cried and made an ocean. I was too damaged that I couldn't listen to his music or watch his DJ set video archives for at least 6 months because it will make the wound open up again. So whenever Spotify brought one of his music in a randomly generated playlist, I had a little panic attack and start crying, like even out in the public, and I just couldn't handle it. It was like reminding me of the irreversible loss and the void inside me. It wasn't that long, after a week or two since his tragic premature death, I saw a tweet that brought my attention to it. It was about a free trial DJ lesson in Koenji held by a local community, which is just a few train stations away from where I live. I had a small but bright spark inside me. I remember my instincts were telling me, why not give it a try? If I suck, I can quit anytime, and that's fine. They will just become experience points in my life, like in video games. So After a short time, like a day, I signed up for it. I took a trial lesson in mid-December and decided to take a full course on DJing next year. What is your ultimate goal? The teacher asked. And I remember I said, I want to be able to DJ, play my favorite artist music, appreciate their existence, share their work with the audience, and make visuals on my own and perform them. And I told him I want to make music too. I get kind of greedy in creative areas. If you know, you know, but it's not a bad thing. I thought I could transmute myself. It was definitely one of the turning points in my life. My goal in DJing stays the same. It is not to become a popular personality and have thousands of followers. I want to be that one person somewhere out in this world, even if it's a small kitchen party, who supports their favorite artist by playing their music. It doesn't matter if the audience knows the music or not. My personal belief is that by playing their music, even after their death, even they are physically non-existent, I believe they can still continue to exist in some way, like in philosophical way. If someone still remembers you, if someone reminds about you in any way, regardless of the form, you still exist. Based on that belief, my idea was that if I can DJ, I can play his music, I can keep his existence in another way. I started to learn DJing next year in 2021, right from January, fresh start, and I have met lots of people, at least 100, I think. The community has a diverse collection of people with different skill sets and backgrounds. It was a great opportunity to meet new people as well. I jumped right into a place where I'm not familiar at all, but I wasn't scared. I was sure that I was on the right track. I was doing the right thing. And almost at the same time, I started to make my original visuals from scratch. I started to learn how to mix visuals to the music. I became a person who introduces bass music in that community, sometimes outside that community, ranging from popular music festival type dubstep to freeform ones, classic OG rhythm, square fours, modern ones, tear out, minitree, or death step. But whenever I have a chance to DJ techno or house music, I always play IO's music. Now that you know my origin story, I think you will understand. I even use the same headphones as him too. I use Sennheisers, and I didn't want to forget where I came from. So it's a little bit strange to think about, but without IO's death, I would not be who I am today. I think I would be still just an illustrator. No one would see me DJing. No one would see my funky visuals in dubstep shows here in Tokyo. A whole different timeline. I have many favorite artists, but I never imagined that someone, even not that close, will make this much impact in my life. Life is really strange sometimes. And I would like to emphasize one more thing before I close this episode. Friends, families, artists, or whoever, tell them that you support them. Tell them that you love them. You never know when it's going to be the last. Respond to their output, their artworks, their music. Give it a like. Write a comment. Share, repost, buy merch. Like, anything works. It's not cringe to do that. It's the will and the act to tell them how much you love them matter, I think. I think his death became a significant trigger in myself to go through transmutation. If I could communicate with him in some way, like that Christopher Nolan's film, Interstellar, through fourth dimension or something, I want to tell him that I still love him and his work, not in a romantic sense, but something that is above than that. And I want to tell him that he opened my new possibilities too. It's not just about DJing or mixing visuals. I think my human qualities, my set of values have drastically changed too. I think I've become a person who appreciate people and things more. I think I got more brave in taking actions, hesitating less, and I think I got wiser when making decisions. I'm making 0 regrets so far. The trigger to cause that transmutation was very painful, but overall, I believe it worked out in a good way. So that's it. That's my dark origin. From the darkness comes the light, you know. What's your origin story? Let me know. I am so aware that this one has been an emotional ride, but thank you so much for listening to this special episode to the very end. And wherever you are, have a great day and see you next time.